So, we are coming now to the last project, Talita Kumi, and I'm inviting on stage Hadar and freshly arrived David. Is it you? Welcome. So the stage is yours.
Good afternoon. My name is Hadar and I'm the scriptwriter and director of Talita Kumi. Talita Kumi is an Aramic term taken from the New Testament, which tells the story of a 12-year-old girl who died out of a severe illness. Her father, Jairus, the head of the synagogue, called Jesus to perform a miracle and bring her back to life. And so Jesus came and went in to see the girl. He took her by the hand and he told her, Talita Kumi, which means, little girl, I say to you, wake up. And the girl woke up and she was resurrected. My film, Talita Kumi, tells the story of a woman in her mid-40s who tends a lonely, obese, sick-old man on a regular basis. But although she is the caregiver and he the patient, she is the one in need, clutching onto him with all her might, not letting go, refusing to release him from her grip. She feeds him because she loves him, because she can't stop loving him. She feeds him because she can't stop wanting him to love her back. Because if that is taken away from her, if that cover story, which she told herself as a girl in order to survive his abuse, is taken away from her, then what is left? I found this obese, sick old man before my previous film a few years ago, like I find all my non-actors in the streets. He was walking to the grocery store, but you can hardly call it walking. He had to stop every 2 steps to catch his breath, sweating, panting, coughing. This 3-minute walk became an endless journey. Finally, I got the courage and I approached him. I can't say I wasn't afraid, I was. Later on, I went to visit him in his house, his small claustrophobic apartment. I can't say I wasn't afraid. I did it by myself, I was really afraid. I keep on going every week. I bring him food, I wait downstairs till he throws me the key, and I go up and I sit with him there in this small claustrophobic apartment, which is mostly a bed and a body. This film, like its character, speaks through the body. This obese, huge, massive old man takes up all the place, all the space. He feels her entire existence and soul to the extent that there is no room left for anything else beside him. He is everything, everywhere. There is no escape. And so, instead of having a past, my heroine has become her own past, telling us her story without her even knowing, screaming her abuse through her body by reliving it time and time again. Those insistent reenactments they are not simply a testimony for her traumatic past, but paradoxically enough, they also bear witness to her inability to have access to it. Through this film, I seek to reveal a traumatic experience which is not yet fully known to my heroine and therefore is unreachable and unspeakable. Unavailable to her consciousness, it cannot become a full story, a narrative memory which is integrated into a complete story of the past. By all means, my heroine's story has no place, not in the past, in which it was never fully experienced, and not in the present, in which its reenactments are not fully understood because they come from an unconscious place. So through this film, I seek to provide the possibility of a speech which is not simply the vehicle of understanding, but also a locus for what cannot yet be understood. I ask the viewers to open their eyes and their ears to a different kind of speech, which is yearning, screaming to be acknowledged, a non-verbal speech. I ask to challenge your expectations of what it means to tell, to listen, and to gain access to a story which is not yet fully known, but nonetheless screaming to be told, to be recognized. About a year ago, I was sitting with my friend and I was telling him about this script I just started writing, Talita Kumi. And at that time, it was very early stages. The ending was completely different. In that ending, my heroine was beaten to death by the girl's father. And I remember as I finished, he was looking at me and he told me, "What are you doing? You're putting all the blame on her. And you're punishing her, and you're killing her. And she did nothing wrong. It's not her fault." And I remember I was looking at him and tears were flowing down my face, literally, because he was right. He is right. I do take all the blame. And I punish myself all the time. And I need to wake up. Someone needs to tell me, "Little girl, wake the fuck up." Thank you. Shall I begin?
Something clever to say.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we go directly to the questions, right? Please.
Sorry for being a little bit metaphorical, but Angami talked about dreams, and I know that she had a label, or probably she still has, which is called Cellulite Nightmares. Reading your screenplay and watching it now, and looking at you, my only question is, are you going deeper into a nightmare, or you're waking up out of the nightmare?
I think it's a rhetorical question. For me, it's a process to go out. I think once you can even say it in words in the end, as she explains something more, it means that she got through this process, and now she can even talk in words about it, because I think that's one of the issues with victims, that they have no words to talk. So I think she is going through a process. Even in the end, when she chooses her choice in the end, I think it's an important choice not to become also the aggressor. And I think this is something that you can never go out from. So there's no unhappy or happy ending. It's just one day after the time, like an addiction maybe. So I think she did go through this process, and she got to a better place there.
Well, just to underline, I think your film is going to be a very powerful one. I think it's one reason I like how you presented it. It was just a question that I was a little bit,
Yeah.
That's what we need to be with the films.
Thank you. So Vincenzo and Catriel maybe first, and then, yeah.
There is a character in the script which you didn't mention at all, and for me at least it helped me understand a little better the story, and it's the girl Magda,
Yeah.
which you didn't mention in your presentation. And in my opinion, it helped me at least understand a little some of the motives of your lead woman, 45, and her relationship with the obese, and maybe something about their mutual past.
Yeah.
So the question is, I don't know why you didn't bring it up, but you can tell a little bit more to the audience and to the people the role of this young girl, because it's not just a small part in a way.
Yeah. My heroine, she lives by herself, and her neighbors are a family without a mother, with a few kids. It's a very hard day family, and there's a special bonding between her and the kids. They call her to help them, and I think this girl for her is very important, because she doesn't really realize it through the film, but I think in the end this girl for her could be the testimony of what happened to her as a kid. I think we always look for how to fill these gaps in the past, and she wants to become a witness to what happened to her, and her way is through the girl, and it's a hard way.
Vincenzo?
Does the body play the most important role for the visual concept or identity of the film, and this is the way you're going to dealing with, so with the bodies in this way?
About this, not exactly. This was a very hard thing to do. You didn't have a process with a cinematographer or with the actors, so it didn't get to the place that I wanted to get. But it is a very physical film. So I guess you can get a little bit of that environment, but for me it was, at least the end, was a little bit too beautiful, and not enough intense.
Laurent?
Maybe
Pablo, yeah.
I will start with a very simple question, but maybe I can go then deeper. The title will be only this one, won't be an English title.
Talita Kumi
Yeah.
is international.
Yeah, the question is that, and maybe also something that relates to position toward the audience, because you said the title and then you have to explain it. I'm saying that because I really like, because we were talking first about dreams, but also about dialogue. I really like where a film asks the audience to do the first step. But at the same time, I think you're aware of that. There is always a risk to ask too much.
For me, when I see films, I love to go and search them if something was interesting to me. I think the name is something that can give you more insight. That's what cinema is supposed to do.
I had approximately the same question. I see your movie like a journey, a very powerful journey. It's a long process, and in the end you give the audience something to enlighten the whole journey. And it's really powerful, and it's consistent, and it's coherent with what we saw of the protagonist, the main protagonist. But what do you expect from the spectator from the beginning to the end? Because he has to face situations, images that are more close to a horror movie or a nightmare. How do you want to treat them? We are talking about dreams. Sometimes it may be a nightmare for the spectator. And I saw it really like that. I liked the coherence, the way you understand everything that's going on with this character, but all the way you don't give the clues. And how do you expect the spectator to be linked to the movie as far as the end? My main question after I closed the script was, will the audience stay till the end?
Well, that's always a question in my films.
I'm sorry.
I must say that after a few people already read the script, some get the notion of what is going on in the beginning more, and some in the, and it's very interesting because you really need to be open to this kind of speech. And for me, it's interesting. I hope they will stand till the end. But for me, it's interesting that they will go through this to realize that what is this speech. I think this is the only way that they understand. Because if I tell it before, so what did I do? I'm trying to give a perspective which is a bit different, maybe, because there's no words. So I need you to go through this journey so you can understand this, so you can look at other people and understand what they're going through. Because I know in the last couple of months there were a few gang rapes here in Israel, and every time the rapists were released, one time because they gave a note with I'm sorry, and you say they're sorry, they are saying they did it, and yet they were released. And every time something like this happens, it doesn't erase only the pain and the voice of this woman, this victim. It erases my story and most of the women here, like every third woman. So I'm really yearning that they will go through this process to see how it affects us for the long run. It's not just a simple thing.
Now, we make the final round, which is of you, Becky.
I had a hard time.
Me too.
Yeah, I had a hard time. And my question to you is now, do you leave the ending completely open to the imagination of the viewer? Because she tries with the pillow, but okay, so do you want that? Do you want an open end?
For me, by not killing him in the end, killing him won't help her. It won't disappear, This huge thing will stay there forever. But for me, there is compassion in this place, and that's the absurd, between her to him, mostly from her to him. And I think the end will try to show that compassion, like directing-wise. Because I think that's the paradox in those situations, that finally, in the end, he looks like a little boy, like a little kid there as I write, and she feels compassionate to that. So I don't know if it answers the question, but not from the same place. Not from the same place.
Yeah. So extremely powerful, consistent, coherent, articulated. Everything everybody has been saying. Extremely challenging, but interesting at the same time, in the sense that you're passing a contract with the audience. And I love when filmmakers do that, to tell them, you have to follow me no matter what, and then you do or you don't, you stay or you don't stay. But if you do, it's a great invitation to experience a movie. It's so physical, I mean the physicality of it, the absence of words and dialogues because it's not to be expressed but to experience. The compassion you were telling at the end falls in place if you go that journey. But it's true that it's very uncomfortable as a journey. So this is the whole thing, is that it's absolutely everything, but the challenge of the filmmaking of how you're going to put it together so that even though it's painful, even though it's hard to cross as a journey, that we still go on with it. I mean, I think this is really, because everything is there. I mean, congratulations, it's amazingly strong.
Thank you. Thank you very much, dear jury, for all your